Greetings, Culturians, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I have to talk to you about a movie that I actually saw, because I saw a movie so you don't have to, and as much hate as I'm going to draw from a couple of individuals, I'm going to say you might want to. This actually wasn't a bad movie, and of course, I'm talking about Masters of the Universe, and I'm going to give you an honest review. But unfortunately, I don't know that it's going to be entirely spoiler-free, because I think it needs context. So, here we go. Now, before we get started, just a real quick reminder, I need your help. I'm trying to get to 50K. I'm also trying to maintain about 1,000 members for the channel. So double check you're still subscribed. If not, click the subscribe button. It's absolutely free. And then hit the thumbs up button because that tells YouTube you like what you see. And then if you wouldn't mind, hit the bell notifications so you can turn them all on so you don't miss anything, because I do lots of pieces of content every week. And in fact, I've got a live stream coming up for the High Roller members on the channel for Saturday. So hopefully, if you're not a member, you'll consider becoming one. And if you are not a subscriber, well, you just click the subscribe button. So thank you. On that note, let's jump into this. And look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This film had me worried from the very beginning. I was concerned that some of the things that we'd heard and some of the marketing strategies that were being employed were going to be detrimental to the film. I'm going to tell you first and foremost, something I really enjoyed in this film was the soundtrack. It was glorious in every way. Any of the original stuff, any of the repurposed Queen things, any of the other stuff that was in here actually worked and was used very well in conjunction with the storytelling. The storytelling falls largely along the lines of all the rumors that you heard. Prince Adams is relocated to Earth and is stranded there for a period of years because he gets separated from the Sword of Power. And what he does to locate the Sword of Power is interesting. And of course, it dives into the difficulties of being a fantasy hero when you actually exist on the planet Earth rather than Eternia. Now, all of this is rectified in the first act of the film, and you get moving very quickly into Acts 2 and 3, both of which were more than satisfying. Now, some people are going to tell you or point at elements that could be considered woke. And I'm going to say it this way. I didn't really see that. I know that there were some things that were done, probably intentionally and very tongue-in-cheek, poking fun at the woke kind of garbage, and especially with Prince Adam, working in HR, which is where the woke reside in every corporate structure in the United States, unfortunately, and it's how we get these terribly bad ideas and practices into place, and we need to remove them everywhere we can. But there is something that's learned along the way by Adam, is that sometimes you have to use what you have, which in his case is incredible power and masculinity, and that's okay. And we get a chance to see a awkward interaction between him and Tila that some people have claimed had Tila putting Adam in the friend zone. While that may be true and it kind of played out that way, I'll have to say this. Awkwardness between men and women is often played for opportunity for futures. Now, I'm going to tell you, there are futures. There are futures for this property. They did not leave anything to chance when they were putting this together. And I'm going to tell you that every actor in every role did an excellent job, including Idris Elba. And first and foremost, he was very good at Man-at-Arms. Now, is that a problem because he wasn't originally that particular shade as the cartoon? Well, it didn't bother me any. I'm not sure if it's going to bother other people, but I don't think it was done with the intention purely to cause controversy, which is what most of these things are done for. I'm also going to say something positive about Jared Leto, and I can't believe this is coming out of my mouth. Jared Leto was really a pretty decent Skeletor. Honestly, you don't hear his real voice. They're using a voice changer, but you do see a lot of quality performance, despite the fact that, well, he looks like a skull and he looks like the character that you collected in action figure form when you were a kid. That's if you were lucky enough to have grown up during the 80s and you got a chance to enjoy these for what they are. And this might be a spoiler, but I don't think it will be for long. Guess who shows up at the end of the movie? It's a character we didn't expect would be there. Orko, who delivers the moral of the story. Sometimes, if you have a skull, you're the bad guy. You're the villain. And you know what? Pretty fun. Look, everybody that you found to be a favorite in this film was a favorite in this film. And the guy, Galatzine, that plays He-Man, did a masterful job of leaning into the character. In fact, I would say that beat for beat, this is something that would be as akin to the cartoon as you could make in live action. It also delivered a complete story. It also delivered a beautiful father and son moment. It had a beautiful father and daughter moment. It had a lot of beautiful moments in it, including realizing that, well, you have the power. And let me tell you, that's something I think a lot of young people need to hear these days. Now, this review is not going to be terribly long, and I'm not going to drag it out. I'll just tell you that the things I really appreciated was Cringer, also known as Battle Cat, and pretty much the entire cast that you saw in the cartoon. Every character seemed to be well represented and fleshed out. And the final confrontation in the third act is more than a little bit satisfying and kind of a, watch this space because there might be a sequel. And I'm going to tell you something else that I didn't expect. I think that this film will do okay at the box office because I think word of mouth is going to conquer all. A lot of positive reviews were starting to come out yesterday. A lot of positive reviews came out on Friday, the day I'm talking to you. And I think you're going to get more positive word of mouth on Saturday and Sunday. I think people are genuinely going to enjoy this enough to maybe see it again. In fact, I think Az said as much earlier today in one of his reviews, if you've not had a chance to watch that video yet, where he had very positive feelings about it as well. Now, again, you're going to see live shows during the course of Friday, today as you're seeing this, like Friday Night Tights and similar, that some of the people are going to be split on this. I think there are going to be people that like it. I think there are going to be people that don't like it, and that's totally fine. But for my money, this looked like a real film. They took a real chance. They used real dialogue. They tried hard to deliver you something that you would enjoy. Now, could they have done better in casting Tila? Probably. But you know what? She did a great job. And let me say this, and it's not going to be said often enough, I think. Alison Brie was amazing at Evil Lynn. And you know what? Suffice it to say, I think she'll be back as well. There's so much more story here to be told. If you look or remember at any of the cartoons that we saw when we were younger, there are stories upon stories upon stories about Eternia. There can also be problems being caused in different parts of Eternia, which is how we draw the movie to a close. Regardless, I think this one might be worth seeing. And believe it or not, this scores a 7.5 out of 10 with me, which is saying a lot, which puts it up there close to, well, or exactly in a 4. I didn't think this could actually happen. This is just short of a 4 out of 5 stars. This is surprising to me. And I enjoyed the film beginning to end. I enjoyed the performances. I enjoyed the lighting. There's nothing that's too dark here, even though we're inside of Snake Mountain and Castle Grayskull. There's no problem with lighting. There's no problem with color grading. There's no problem with CGI. There's no problems at all. And that's amazing, because that's what I'm used to seeing these days. But hey, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Do you think you're going to go and give He-Man and Masters of the Universe a chance? Are you interested or intrigued to see Evil Lynn played by Alison Brie? Do you think you want to take a chance on looking at a slightly different version of Tila than you're normally accustomed to? And what about the Sorceress, who makes amazing appearances in this as well? And what do you think about the idea that Adam is cast from Eternia to save his life and eventually come back to try to save his family? Let me know your thoughts or whether or not you're going to see this film down in the comments section below. For what it's worth, I would say this is one you could certainly wait for streaming on, but believe it or not, I think rewarding Amazon for trying not to lean too heavily into the woke maybe should be rewarded. Maybe we should start sending the message that You don't have to be 1000% on board, but you have to give us what we want as fans. If they were listening to us about James Bond, I think the video game would have done better. Let's hope they make better choices with the film franchise. On that note, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, we'll see you. Hopefully seeing a good movie this weekend.